Hey, Christy Mattoon here with Mind Rewire. I have been out working, so pardon the look. But aside from that, I wanted to get on here and answer a few questions that was asked on other videos. And the video specifically that I'm answering here, and the reason I'm answering the question with a video is because I thought it would be more effective than trying to answer it just by trying to, it would have been a huge full blown answer. Actually, I'm being lazy. That's what's going on right now. So that's all good. The video itself, if you want to go back and watch it, is called Commanding Demons. It was made on July 21st, so just a few days ago. Who's in charge of who was what I was asking in that video. And talked about that a little bit, angels and demons. If we've got one, we've got the other. We live in a world of contrast. First of all, understand that, right? We do live in a world of contrast. And so there is both. And then you would say, well, how does that work? How do you believe in both, or how do you work around both, or whatever? And I just figure if there's both here and we can command angels, and you understand the hierarchy of the whole system and how all of that works, then you recognize you actually can command demons too. Now the question is, what are they? So here was the question that was posted. It says, "Hi, Christy. I love that you open-heartedly welcome us into your discovery as well and want us to stay empowered. Thank you." Hey, you know what? You are so welcome, first of all. And second of all, thank you for saying that. That just made me feel really warm. But demons, this is how the rest of it goes. But demons, as in literal demons, question mark. You stated the people who's in control of the planet right now, or the elites who have indeed orchestrated all of this, somehow command demons? Question mark again. I did state that. I have not read any of the resources you mentioned, but it got me greatly curious along with the Solomon story. Could you elaborate just a bit about that right there? Because obviously you are well read and aware of the subject, more than aware of the subject than all of us. And I don't know about than all of you. I know what I know because I am well read, and I do try to read, and I try to listen, and I try to understand. And when I don't get it, I go ask. All right. So I appreciate you stating that also. I don't know if it was meant as a bar, but I do appreciate it because I do try. You should see my library. I just now lugged another 4 boxes in out of the garage. We just moved in January, full of books. I still haven't unpacked. I try so hard to stay up and even read like old literature, new literature. I try and read everything. All right. So could you elaborate on that a little bit? So demons, literal demons. Let's understand what that means first of all. So the first thing people do when you say demon is they think Satan, right? And if you think Satan, you got to take a step back and go, okay, who is Satan? And then you go, okay, Satan was an angel named Lucifer, right? There's a whole context behind this. And then you have to kind of stop right there for a second and go, okay. And if you're thinking of it from a religious Christian kind of text, you go God, and then Jesus on the right hand, and then Lucifer on the other side. Both angels, both doing their thing, right? And Jesus, Yeshua, so I'm talking more Christ consciousness here, but all part of the whole, all part of the whole concept. And if you stop and look at it like that for a second, and then you go, okay, there was parts being played. There was roles being played here. Yeshua had his role. Lucifer had his role. The Godhead had its role, right? The source energy itself was a role. And that was the part of the story we learned. But we didn't learn that the only reason the Lucifer part of it, and I don't know why it got told the way it got told, but the story as we were told it was this demon being that would come and steal your soul and take you over and all of these weird things, right? It had demons that worked with it. Fallen angels, right? We were told that they were called. And so you think about that for a second, but if you go back to the original part of it where, the creator, the energy that created all of it, God, had these other two energies, angels, entities next to it, Yeshua, Lucifer, and they were contrast. They were contrast, right? We got both. We got the good, we got the bad, and that's what we call it, the good and the bad. Over time, we were taught that Lucifer being was in control of this world and was setting around doing things trying to mess you up, right? Because that is the contrast. That is how you learn the difference, is because of the contrast. This part's yucky and dark and bad, and this part's good and crazy and cool and powerful, and this takes your power and this gives you power, and there's this contrast in here. And you start to think about that, and you're like, but they both came from the same source. And then you go, okay, wait a minute. What is going on here? Like, why? Why would the source do that to us? Why would God do that to us? And I don't have an answer for all of this stuff. I surely don't. But if you want to go back and read some of the Gnostic teachings and understand some of the stuff beyond just the text of the Holy Bible, that is one set of ancient texts. That's what Rome took and decided everything else made you a heretic, right? So they were killing people and slaying people for what they knew. Understand the history behind it. And if you go even before the Gnostics were the Essenes, and their teachings were more about the energy of the body and the things that they could do and the power that they had within themselves. And even that group, right? It's told in some of the teachings that Mary Magdalene herself was an Essene, that Jesus was even possibly an Essene. So you have to understand there's more to the story, first of all, than what you were told. And then if you think about the demon part of it, and you're like, okay, that was an angel, and he's the angel showing us the contrast. Is it a good or bad thing? There's light in the darkness, and you start really trying to understand and sort some of this out. It makes you go, wow, okay. But if the demons themselves can be controlled, if that negative energy, right? So it's good energy, it's negative energy. It's positive energy, it's negative energy. The negative energy throws you in the tailspin of what humans, from a human standpoint, would call these negative emotions, right? The hate, the anger, the sabotage, all of these kind of things that we consider negative. On the positive side of it, you have unconditional love, peace, joy, the attributes of the spirit, which are our innate attributes. The anger and those kind of things are what the demons will tend to try and drive you towards. They want to try and make you angry. They want to try and get you upset. They want to try and keep you in turmoil. I think over time, the direction all of this has gone is that the more turmoil humans stay in, the further away from our peace and our love we get, the easier we are to control. Underneath all of this, I hope any of this makes sense. I think I'm doing all right, but I feel like I'm talking in circles. Underneath all of this is knowledge. You can only do what you can do because you know what you know. You can only go where you go because of the knowledge that you have at the time that you're trying to get there. Does that make sense? And if I know more, I can do different, good or bad. If I know more, I can do different, good or bad. And then human free will takes over. And you have to make a choice. And if you choose the side of what we would consider darkness, right? That's the choice. If you choose the light, then you've chosen the light. But therein is the contrast. And we're showing it to each other at this point. We are definitely showing each other the contrast. So demons, as in literal demons, yes. In the Gnostic Bible, they're called archons. And they were these energy forms or these energy beings. I heard it described the other day as a level of consciousness. So there again, like I'm trying to raise my consciousness. I'm making this huge effort and trying to do different, be different, learn different, understand different, to raise my level of consciousness. And actually, I won't even lie to you at this point. I think it's to translate my human body into its energy body, so I can leave this place, possibly without dying, before all the mayhem that's about to erupts. Right? It's about to hit the fan in this country, I'm afraid, more so than it already has. And I think that's part of the control thing. If they can keep us in fear, if they can keep the majority of the population in fear, they've got the control, right? And how do they send out these little beings to do this? How do they set this in motion? They've got control of something. I called it a demon. That's what Solomon said he had control of. He could control the demons. right? So do some research, do your work, read something on this stuff. I know years ago when I started reading about this, I got slapped by a number of people going, "What are you doing?" And it was because I wanted to know what this was, what was operating even inside myself that was causing so much mayhem and disturbance in my life, right? So beyond the subconscious, beyond the realms of the things I had locked in my system from my childhood, what else was going on, right? So, and you can do an old fashioned eviction of the demons, what the Catholic Church call that, when they would do the huge, and the gal spinning in circles, splitting or spitting pea soup. I don't know. All I know is I felt something leave my system. I felt something removed from me. Okay. And I think when you have an experience like that, it's hard to deny that there isn't something more than maybe what you think there is. And I would just have to say, I know there's something more because I've experienced it. I've seen it. I've felt it. I've come face to face with it. So demons, as in literal demons, yeah. Negative energy, call it what you want. Archons, go back through some of these ancient texts. Every single religious or every single ancient text, however you want to word it, talks about the negative side of this as well. It's not just the positive side. If it was, we wouldn't be doing this right now, folks. We wouldn't be in this place doing what we're doing right now. There is some of both in this plane of existence. Definitely is. So the last part of his question said, what would be the one thing that you would want us to know so we can calm ourselves first and then the others around us? Heart coherence, baby. All day long. If you can train yourself to stay in your heart, which is how, and I've said this multiple times before, I think this system is supposed to work. We were taught to go to our brain from day one. Think about it, right? Sit down and think about it. And especially in school, we were told, sit down and think. I remember even in our home, gosh, would you think about it before you would do something stupid? Being told things like that. Think about it, think about it, think about it. If I'm thinking about it, what am I using? I'm using knowledge that I've learned from other people who gain their knowledge from their issues, who gain their knowledge from their issues, right? Who gain their knowledge from other people who gain knowledge from their issues. And we've passed that down, and we've passed it down, and we've passed it down. And so when I use my brain, if I go to my brain, I'm using knowledge that I had because of what I had learned from somebody who had a huge amount of issues. And then I say, okay, wait a minute. And that's when all of this started coming together for me. And I go inside my heart space. What's the one thing I want you to know? Learn heart coherence. And when you do that, you can get inside your heart space and all of this starts to change. All of it starts to change. You train yourself to it. I go to my heart first. I have a direct line of communication to God. I have a direct line of communication to my angels, whatever you want to call it, right? Your guardian angels. And then I figured out my spirit was there too. I've got a direct line to my own spirit. I can ask all kinds of questions and get all kinds of answers. Much higher level than anything I know as a person on this planet. Me, right? You too. You've got the same effect. You've got the same technology inside of you. You've got your spirit inside of you that would do the same thing for you. That's what I would say to you. Much love back. I bless you. I thank you so much for asking that question. You're a very beautiful person for even spitting that out there that way. I just loved it. Underneath it also, Honey Badger asked or stated the ego. Who's in control of who? The ego. If you're in that space, I would say keep stretching and growing. The ego doesn't have to have control, right? That's an antiquated idea. It is an antiquated, and I say antiquated because we are in a space of time where consciousness is rising rapidly, right? And if you get heart coherent, the ego really has nothing on you because you're not operating from the physical circumstance of the world. You're operating from your heart. All right. Does that help? I hope that helps. God bless you. I'm going to add this. Link to those questions and their reply So you guys can find that. Please comment, reply, subscribe to my channel. I bless you so much for doing that. You guys have just made my heart such a thrill the last number of months. And if you have something specific you want to hear a video on, if you want my ideas on it, I am more than happy to do that. Let me know what you're thinking about and what you want to know about. Thank you so much for being here.